My dad is a self-made man, and he's worked really hard to accomplish a lot in his lifetime. He was 5 years old in the middle of the Depression when his father died. So he had a single mother growing up and a little brother who was 2 years younger than him. My dad put himself through college, put himself on a mission. He was in the Army for 2 years, and then he was able to go to law school.
And he was raised in San Pete County in Fairview, Utah, and that is something that he is very, very proud of. And he did meet my mom at Snow College there, so that's another reason why it's so dear to him.
Joyce Graham, Bob's wife, started helping at Utah Youth Village in the 80s. And we did a lot together in terms of beautifying our homes and working with the kids, helping the kids and helping the families we were working with back then. Joyce continued to give and be very active. She was one of the leaders in our caring council.
Joyce was a member of that caring council, and I think through that, Bob got introduced to everything that we were doing, and he and Joyce just devoted so much time and effort and love and care to that caring council. In fact, one time I was called out to the back parking lot, and they opened up their trunk, and they had purchased blankets and towels and sheets and cooking things and appliances for the kitchen. They had just gone out and basically furnished one of our group homes.
This did give her a purpose, and I can remember even going and helping her purchase gifts for the girls at Christmas time, and going and shopping for different things in the homes that they were decorating.
Now Bob's an attorney, and he's also an accountant, and he knows a lot. He is a really smart guy. And there have been a lot of times when I've called Bob up with problems that the Utah Youth Village faced. A lot of times he'd ask me to lunch and said, come on down to my office, let's have lunch and let's talk through this. And I'd go down to his office, which was downtown, and then he wanted to always go to Lamb's Grill. And that was, I think, about a half block from his office. But it took us 20 minutes to 30 minutes to get from his office to Lamb's Grill because everybody on Main Street had to stop and talk with Bob.
Anywhere we would go, whether it be downtown at his office or out to lunch or to a Broadway play, we would just walk a few steps and meet a new person that would say, hi Bob, and out of his mind he could pull out anybody's name.
He knew everyone on the street, and everyone was, hey Bob, how are you doing?
He is one of the kindest, most gracious, and affable people I know. He always has a smile. He remembers everybody. And he always has something to say to them that's nice and kind and interested in their situation. And he remembers a lot about them.
Through tough times or good times, my dad has never had a down day. He gets up every day with a great attitude, gonna attack whatever challenge he has, and he does it with just amazing vigor.
And what he's brought to our organization is simply a wealth of knowledge with respect to not only the law, with respect to foundations, but also the tax consequences, the investment acumen, and I think because of Bob's talents in particular, we've been able to grow our foundation significantly simply because of his abilities.
He is like Mr. Reliable. He's still going into the Eccles Foundation every work day and working. Now he's been retired for, almost 30 years? And yet he's still giving to the community. It's just enormous, the number of lives he's influenced over the years.
My dad was probably almost 80 when he was in the hospital with a heart condition. And he told me, Carolyn, you've got to go in this desk drawer in the kitchen and get the church key, because this week is my week to go around at night and check the church and make sure every door is locked. And you need to get that key to this neighbor, making sure that this commitment that he had made, even in the hospital with a heart condition, was met.
One thing that I really respect and admire about my dad is his dedication. He has been dedicated to community service as well, and also very dedicated to his church. And I might add, he's also dedicated to his yard work. Even at age 92, he goes out and puts about 2 to 3 hours of yard work in a day. and consequently he has the nicest yard in the neighborhood.
My dad can solve any problem, and he's very independent and likes to figure things out himself. I remember that my parents at their house, they had a Little Mermaid bike that was there for the grandkids. And my dad is got to be well into his 60s at this point. And his car was down about 1.5 miles down the hill getting repaired. My mom wasn't going to make it back in time for him to go down there, her taking him, and get the car. So what does he do? He grabs the Little Mermaid bike, and he is on this Little Mermaid bike with little streamers off the handlebars, riding down the hill to the car, throws the bike in the back of the car, and drives home.
Out of all the accomplishments that my dad has had throughout his life, I know that he would say his greatest accomplishment would be his family. And as the leader of our family, he has led first and foremost by example. He has a way of making each one of us feel special.
My grandpa has always been so much fun and such a good sport. From my earliest years, I remember playing doctor on my grandpa. He was the classic best patient that you could imagine for a young child playing doctor. He would lay on the floor and let us get out our little kits and take good care of him, giving him shots.
And at Skyline High, I was a cheerleader, and I was so embarrassed. Every game, my dad would come with the great big video camera, and back then they were huge, on his shoulder. Then he had a slide camera around his neck and a still camera. And I was so embarrassed that he had so many cameras to take pictures of me, and now that's something that I totally appreciate.
There was never an event they missed. They were always at every baptism, every graduation. He never misses a birthday. And just recently I've begun singing in the Tabernacle Choir, and he tells me that every Sunday he scoots his chair right up to the TV, just hoping that he can catch a glimpse of me. And it means the world to know how proud he is of me.
One very special experience I had with my dad was just this last September, and I was able to accompany him on the Utah Honor Flight. The Utah Honor Flight is an organization that sends veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials that have been built in their honor. Our family motto is Return with Honor, and my dad can say that after his 2 years of Army service, he truly did return with honor. And then when we returned from the Utah Honor Flight, there were hundreds of people there to welcome us home, and he truly did return with honor once again.
I left home and moved out of state to come to college here at BYU. And that would have been a lot harder had I not had my grandparents here. They were my home away from home. And some of my fondest memories of my college years were the time that I spent with them. My grandparents were even helpful to playing some pranks on some friends in college. And I cherish those memories. That time together with them was priceless.
One of the things that they did that's been so impactful was to approach the Eccles Foundation for funding for their beautification needs for our group homes in Alpine Academy. And the primary mover behind that, of course, was Joyce. And because of that, we named the fund after Joyce. And if anybody deserves it, it's her.
One of my great memories with Bob and Joyce was in 2013 when Utah Youth Village was able to honor Joyce with a Lila Legacy Award. And it was a very special occasion where we had Bob and Joyce and their daughters and some of their family there with all of the girls at Alpine Academy, 70 girls and a lot of our staff.
And Eric Bjorklund spoke, and I remember him speaking about a new beginning for these girls who had troubled lives, and this was an opportunity for them, kind of like the caterpillar, transforming into a beautiful butterfly. That day we went out to the building, and on the outside of that building they had members of the Caring Council's names done in metal with a butterfly next to it. And so that's been a very special thing. And then shortly after that, my mom went through her own transformation in passing away. And we see signs of her through butterflies.
I just came to know that they still call it the Joyce Graham Beautification Fund. And that her legacy lives on through that. And my mom was a beautiful person, inside and out. And having a beautification fund at an institution that she loved in her name is wonderful.
Bob is so deserving of the Helping Hand Award because he has been such a major influence in our community in helping Utah Youth Village and our children and families and many, many other charities.
In the time that I've known Bob, it's clear that he's one of the kindest, most generous individuals that I've ever met. He's completely unselfish about not only his resources, but his time.
He gives so selflessly, not just monetarily, but also of his time. He gives so freely.
We are so grateful for that impact and for his huge effort to make a difference in the lives of so many people. We love Bob.
Bob, I can't think of anyone who's more entitled to this award. You've been a great friend of the youth of this community.
Congratulations, Bob, not only for a wonderful life lived, but for being the recipient of the Helping Hand Award.
You are an eternal optimist. You radiate light and love to others, and you are so deserving of this award.
Congratulations on being the Helping Hand recipient 2023. Once again, you have made me such a very proud daughter.
You are so deserving of this. Congratulations, Dad.
Thank you so much for allowing us to honor you with this Helping Hand Award. You are so amazing. We're so grateful for you. Thank you so much, Bob.